Okay, so I thought that I'd spend some time sharing with you what I have been doing with Facebook marketing, because everybody, well, a lot of people say it doesn't work. I don't think there are any lead sources that don't work. I think that some lead sources are too expensive if you pay other people to do it. And that goes very much for Facebook marketing. I think if you pay people to do Facebook marketing, it can quickly become expensive. And it really isn't difficult. I mean, I can do it, anybody can do it. So I thought, like I said, I would give you a little bit of an insight in what I've been doing and what I think works here. So I'm going to share my screen if I can work that out. Okay, does everybody see my screen? I guess they do. Yes, I see my screen. Okay.
Yep.
So maybe I just can't get the slide to work. Oh, there we go. So what you need to run Facebook ads is I think you will need a CRM, because you need a way to follow up on the leads. If you don't follow up on those or any other leads, it's not going to work. And you also need a business page on Facebook. I know people have been running Facebook ads from personal pages. First of all, it's against Facebook policy. And secondly, it does not have necessarily the same effect as having a professional business page on Facebook. And then obviously you need to have an ad account on Facebook, which is free. It's just the spending that's costing money. And you need to have a system in place for how you follow up on these leads when they come in. Because if you do this right, you will get quite a few leads. And you need an effective ad copy and a good target audience. And I'm not talking about targeting specific people, I'm talking about targeting specific areas. Good morning, Shirley. And then you need some patience, because you catch people when you do this type of advertising. You generally catch them about 3 to 6 months before they're ready to do anything. So, I mean, when I relaunched my Facebook campaigns in January, I had my first deal out of it in February, but that's not the norm. And then I would say you need to spend at least $300 a month. You can spend $5 a day, which is roughly $150 a month. But if you want to have enough money in the game for Facebook, sorry about that, for Facebook to be able to learn, they do machine learning with the ads. So to learn who to target to make your ads most efficient, I believe you need to spend at least $10 a day. And I also don't believe you need, it says a minimum here, but I actually don't think you need to spend more than $10 a day. I think $10 is sort of right in the spot where you want to be. So this is the flow. I'm going to get into the actual ads and everything a little later. You need to specify an audience. And what I like to do is I like to target out-of-state people, because generally they don't have a Florida realtor. They don't know anybody in Florida, whereas if you do, you can relatively successfully target local audiences as well, like your local county, your local city, or whatever, but your ad spend needs to be higher, or you have to settle for fewer leads. They're obviously easier to meet, but they also, a lot of them will know somebody else who's a realtor in the area. So I like out-of-state people. Then you need to set up an ad set of at least 3 to 4 different ads. So Facebook has a chance to figure out what works best for what you want to do. And for each ad, you need to use a form on Facebook, because people do not want to go to your website and fill out a form, but almost everybody is quite happy to fill out a form on Facebook for some reason. And then you need to figure out who opened the form. That's something Facebook does for you. And the people who opened the form and did not submit, you make Facebook put into a new audience so you can retarget them. And the people who opened the form and submitted the form, they will become your leads in your CRM. What you do with the people who did not submit the form is that you make Facebook create a custom audience, as they call it, and then you create an ad set number 2, which could actually in effect be just a copy of your ad set number 1. And then you target those ads towards your audience number 2. And until you keep targeting them until they submit your form or go away. I know this is this is the big 10,000-foot overview of how this works. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope, not yet.
Oh, I forgot that little thing. Obviously, when these people submit the form, they become a lead in your CRM. What I'll try to teach you today is how to create an effective ad, how to select your target audience, and how to set up your ad in Facebook Ad Manager. And that's about it. What we should do some other time, or you could find on YouTube, is how to use or choose your CRM. Some of you will have had an email from you saying that we're moving away from Chime, finally. We will offer another CRM, but not on a personal website, just a sub website under the Maxim website if you want one, or you can use your own CRM. I can't tell you how to integrate your leads in your CRM, but the people providing your CRM will be able to help you doing that. If you want to know how to create a Facebook business page, there are tons of videos on YouTube, or we can take that at another meeting. Same goes for how to set up an ad account on Facebook. It takes about 5 minutes on YouTube, and you know how to do that. And how to import your Facebook leads into your CRM. That's something you need to talk to the people providing your CRM with. And I also can't teach you how to be patient. But one thing that's really important if you decide to do this is to set it up and don't look at it every day. Just give it a couple of weeks before you start fiddling with it, because it will take a little time before it really kicks in.
I'll be honest, it's still this one thing that Steve told me when I sat down at Maxim to interview, I don't know, like 6 years ago. And the one thing he said to me that stuck was consistency is key. Yes. And I can attest to that for sure.
It is. And that goes for advertising as well, where they do. And the reason I like Facebook ads is not because it's a better medium than any other medium. There are just as good mediums out there. But the reason I like Facebook ads is that almost everybody in North America on Facebook. And the generation who can afford to buy homes, I would say probably 95% of them have a Facebook account, and they check it regularly. So and if you do this right, this is relatively cheap. This is from my ad account I started creating this a few months ago. So this information is not up to date. I think up until March, but you can see, and this fluctuates over the month, but if you look at my spending in January, I got 368 Facebook leads for a spend of $321.11. And that means that each lead cost 87 cents. We go to February, the price jumped up a little bit to an exhausting $1.24 for a $279 spent, $280 spent. In March, it's jumped to $1.51, and there are two reasons that my lead cost got up. One is that competition started to get a little more fierce for Facebook leads, and also that I started to become a little more selective in who I wanted, and I selected people by actually adding more questions to my Facebook form, so they had to go through more hoops to become a lead. And this is April one, where I tried to add a luxury home campaign, which obviously meant that the people interested were a lot fewer than for regular homes, so the cost per lead went up. So by that time, by end of April, we had 973 leads. I had 2 closings out of this, and I had 111 people who are actually potentially going to buy in the next 12 months. I'm not saying all of them are buying, because they're not, but there's the potential. As of today, I have closed on $42,000 in commission from Facebook leads, and I spent $3,900 including mistakes. That's on everything I spent on Facebook, even something that really wasn't targeted to getting leads, just little experiments I did.
So a question for the, I don't know if I missed, but for these, how much did you spend? Do you know?
For these ones?
Yeah.
Oh, we can go back.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, 2 closings, I mean, that probably pays, you know, well over what you spend on ads.
We can do it because this is based on the slides I just showed you, so we can just add it up. It's 192 plus 319, no, 320, sorry. Then we go back one more step, plus 310, plus 280, plus 321. So that 2 closings cost $1,423, give or take.
Nice.
Yes, that is nice. So, and I think we're up to 6 closings now on a almost $4,000 spent.
That's awesome.
And we have 2 pending also coming from that. And they both seem like they're closing. So does that sound like something that's worth looking into?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's $1,400. I'm sure your closings were much more than that.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I can say the gross commission I've earned from these $4,000 is $42,000.
Holy crap.
And that's not including the 2 pending that you have, correct?
No.
That's awesome.
What would that equate?
The 2 pending is another 26,000.
Nice, Ben.
So you spent $4,000 to get over 60 something thousand. If
Yes.
those 2, assuming those close.
Yes, assuming those 2 close, yes. Well, one of them is out of inspection tomorrow, and they're very excited. They're all cash buyers. Nothing really can go wrong. They have to find a place to live, so I don't really see that not closing. The other one, I don't know, that could think. But the one that's definitely closing is 20 out of the 26,000, so.
Fantastic. That's a great return.
Yes. That's why I wanted to share this, because I really think this is worth doing for anybody who wants to expand. I mean, this, you should not only be doing this. I'm just saying, long term, as good social media presence, that's probably going to give you more in terms of return on investment, monetary investment, but I don't know if it's going to give you more in terms of time invested, because the time you have to invest in this is really not that much. I mean, the follow-up is the same, whether the lead comes from your organic searches or it comes from advertising. You still have to talk to people, you still have to follow up with. So that side of it, I would say, is probably more or less the same. I'm sorry about the dog in the background. It's very excited. But the time you invest in creating a organic customer is is a lot. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but it does take a lot of time. So what you should do when you create a Facebook ad is you should have a clear area, something that you know people want to see. Like it doesn't help advertising Ave Maria in New York State, because nobody knows where that is. So it has to be Fort Myers Beach, Venice Beach, or something that people know where you're advertising. So if you advertise locally, you can use something that is not widely known, but if you advertise in other states, you need to make sure that it's something that a lot of people will know what is or where is.
So curious about that. I don't know the website, but isn't there a website where you can see the states that people are moving from, or, you know, even like Punta Gorda Airport? I know that they've picked up more states and cities and stuff, or, you know, because of the influx of people moving here. I wonder if it'd be smart to look at that data, you know, of.
You can do that, or you can find out what people are searching for. And I'm not going to go into that right now, because that's going to take too much time, but you can actually see what people are searching for on Google.
Okay.
And that will also help a lot.
Cool.
You also, I've tried generic ads, but find a pool home or find any home, and it's what I found works best is if you have a clear price. It doesn't really matter if I say from 500,000 or under 500,000. It seems like it's the fact that there's an amount in there that catches people's attention. And just because you are advertising home, I ran it for a long time. I ran a pool homes in Orlando under 350,000. One of the closings I have from that one is somebody who bought a $775,000 home cash. So don't think that just because you advertise low prices, you get just people who wants to buy cheap homes. You also need to create a sense of urgency in the ad. Like, these are not going to last long. I mean, this is basic advertising stuff, but yeah. And when you advertise on Facebook, emojis are important, because people love emojis that catch your attention much better than text. So don't think you need to look serious and just write text. And you need to have a call to action, which would be the button to ask people to go and fill out your Facebook form.
Do you offer like a free list, or what do you do for that call to action?
I can show you. This is one of my ads I've been running. Move-in ready Orlando pool homes from 325,000. Exclusive list of properties include price, photos, and address. Click learn more to get your exclusive list, but don't wait. Homes in this market are going fast. That's all it says.
Well played.
Yeah. Here's another one. This one does not work quite as well, because there's not a lot of urgency, or there's only one that you get the free hot list as this ad says, but there's no urgency in that one. So the first one works better than the second one.
That's a video ad, correct?
That video ad is just a bunch of still images that Facebook turned into a video, yes.
Gotcha.
But I've found, which is why I'm showing you all these, because part of my spend is testing all these things out. And I actually now only spend about $300 a month, which if I'd done that from the beginning and done it right from the beginning, I would by now have spent only, what, $1,800, 6 months, 7 months, $2,100 by now, rather than $4,000. But you got to test, especially in the beginning. But I can tell you that the picture of the home works a lot better than the picture of the pool for some reason. And these are all stock photos, by the way.
Have you ever tried it like advertising just for a specific listing, or do you usually just do it this way to get people to search? I'm just curious. I have 2 listings that are not moving, and so I'm just curious if it would be smart to try to, just advertise for that specific listing.
This type of advertising for a specific listing, in my humble opinion, would be a complete waste of money.
For a specific listing would be?
This type of advertising.
Okay, got it.
If you wanted to advertise a specific listing, I would figure out who is my buyer for this listing.
Mm-hmm.
How much does your listing cost?
I have golf access for $650 and then a pool home for $515.
And how much would people need to make to qualify for a mortgage in these 2 homes?
Oh, hell, I need to do my math.
But let's say one of them would be somewhere around 200 to 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what type of family would move in there?
Yeah, I think they would either both be, seasonal. Or the pool home one would probably be, or an elderly person, either seasonal or just, someone older that may not be spending a lot of time down here.
What I would do if I was going to advertise that is I would buy a list of people who match these criteria and upload it as a custom audience to Facebook and then advertise to that custom audience, not a broad advertising to just anybody.
Gotcha.
Oh, we're done for this part. I'm gonna have to change screen. Sorry, hang on a second. Now we're going to Facebook. Is everybody familiar with Facebook Business Manager?
It's been a while since I've used it, but I have used it before.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. So I'm just quickly gonna run through how to set up the ad in Business Manager. It's changed a lot recently. So this is what it looks like now. If you have more than one account, they'll show up in the top left corner. What you want to do obviously is go to Ads Manager. And then let's choose an account with no ads. I think I have one of these. I think this one doesn't have any ads. Yay. Oh, it does. That one maybe. Yay. So this is, if you haven't used Facebook Ads Manager before, this is what it will look like the first time you log in. So in the top, you have the campaigns, ad sets, and ads. So each campaign consists of a number of ad sets, which again consists of a number of individual ads. And you have to start at the campaign level when you start setting it up. And this is basically just to organize, if you want to, like Gibby said, if you want to run, say, a specific ad for a listing, you would probably set up an individual campaign for that, or you can have a campaign that just runs listing, and each listing has its own ad set. It doesn't really matter how you set it up, just in a way that makes sense to you. So what I would do here is for these type of ad, you want to select the lead generation type of ad, because we want to be able to have access to the Facebook form. And then you can name your ad set, your campaign. I'll just say a test campaign. And then you create an ad set. One. And for the ads, I like to actually, I like to have my campaign budget on an ad set level. So, and in the name of the ad set, I do maybe $10 a day. Which is where I'm going to advertise, and then maybe Google Homes 500 plus, for instance. That's just how I like to organize these, so I know what the ad set is for. And then when you get to the next picture, you need to declare a special ad category because you're advertising housing, and that limits what you can do with the ad. You cannot, for instance, if you want to target a zip code, you have to target 50 miles minimum around that zip code. So you don't exclude any neighborhoods with people you don't like. You also have a limited access in Facebook to choose people's interests, their demographics, because of discrimination risk. But that doesn't prevent you from having a custom audience of people that you want to target, as long as you're not discriminating. That's pretty important to know. But you can, with a custom audience that you buy from a data source, you can target people with a specific income, a specific number of kids, because if that home is kid friendly, you can target those. If you can target people, obviously in a specific area, you can do a lot of targeting of the custom audiences, but like I said, that's for another time. Everything else on that page, I would leave the same. Go next. And the lead method would be instant forms. I have tried chat and calls, and if you have a huge budget, that's going to maybe work, but I think you need to spend more than $1,000 a month to have an effective chat or call campaign. Instant forms is much better for a smaller budget. Then you have to choose a Facebook page. I have a couple of test ones here. Just use that one. That should obviously be your business page. And you can set a goal for your cost per result, but I don't like to do that. I'll let Facebook optimize my campaigns. And here's the important one: your daily budget. Set $10. And then Facebook says, well, that should give you 11 to 31 leads a day and reach between 391 and 1,100 people a day. I can tell you from experience that 31 is not going to happen, but well, unless you're much better at writing ad copy than I am. But the sort of 8 to 12 leads a day is not unrealistic on a $10 budget. So then we get to the location. For the first ad, we're only targeting a specific location. So I would go and edit the location. Let me know if I'm going too fast, by the way. So we can search, like I said, I like to target out-of-state people. So I would go state. I would go maybe that's where I've had a lot of my people from. And you can see now the leads change, but that's okay. And then I would add a few more states in there where I know or think people might be moving to Florida from. Midwestern states are good. California is good as well. Oregon is not a bad place. It's just a matter of not having enough of an audience that people see your ad, but not so much that they don't see it often enough. Because part of the trick is here to make sure that when it's been running a couple of weeks, everybody has seen it at least twice. So this audience, 2 states for one ad set is a good place to start. I use automated placements. What manual placement does is you can choose where you don't want it to be shown. Like if you don't want it on Instagram, you don't want it outside of Facebook, but I would just run it on automatic placement and let Facebook figure out where it gets the most responses. Click next. I have selected a page we put up for fun, so it doesn't really have an audience or anything, but it's definitely not with that. It's a page where people could vote on the best decorated home in Windermere. Didn't really work out that well, but so you go to create your ad. So you need to add a picture. And I'll just upload one. I don't think this is an appropriate picture, but this is just for illustrative purposes. Okay, next, and then they'll ask you if you want to change the format for different ads, and I would do the in the search results, because that usually always is possible to make it fit. The other ones I just leave unless the picture has a format that makes it look better if you change the format. So this might actually, this might be better. So, but what this is for is to give you a chance to adjust the picture so it looks optimal on these 3 different formats. Click done. And then you have to have a primary text. I'm just going to go back to my okay. I thought I could copy that. Okay, so just type the ad text here, move-in ready homes. So just like the ad I showed you before. In this one. And then you have your headline, should be a call to action. Information, or even better, get your free list of homes. That's it. And you have different options for the call to action button. I think that the learn more works better. It's not as aggressive as get quote, get offer, or subscribe. Sort of kind of like just, well, this is an option for me to get more information. And then you go down to find, sorry, I'm doing, oh, there we go. Because, and then you need to create the form. You have to give the form a name. I would go for more volume to start with, and then if I get too many leads who are just clicking a button for fun, I'll change it to high intent. but when I start running it, I'll always do more volume. You should choose a background image for your form, and I generally go with the same picture as I use in the ad. It'll come.
We can go back into the recording and go over all this, correct?
I hope. Because
Perfect.
what happened the last 2 times when I was recording these meetings, for some reason the video was never recorded, but I hope so, yes.
Okay, that's important. Thank you. This is very important.
So, but yes, if not, I'll do a recording and then I'll put it on there. I'll simply record it without you guys and put it on there.
It gave us, or gave me the alert that you were recording, so hopefully it works.
So it did the last 2 times when I did the recording, but for some reason I had only the transcript of the chat left in my download, so I don't know what happened. The form to get your free list, I'll send you some, I'll put some text that you can use in here that will also increase conversion of actually or people filling in. And the only questions I would ask is, I would definitely want to have their oh, there we go. I want their email, I want their name, and I don't want their full name. I want their first name and the last name as a separate field. And I want that solely for the purpose of trying to weed out the people who just like to push buttons. So these are the 4 fields I would put in for their information. I want their email, and you can change the order of this, which you should probably do. And the first name, last name, email, and phone number. Facebook will pre-fill this form with their information from giving the same information that that Facebook has on file. And that is good and bad. The good thing is that you almost always get all the information. The bad thing is that I've found a lot of people who's been on Facebook for a long time, they forget to update their phone number on Facebook when they get a new phone number. So just because you get a wrong phone number, don't necessarily think that somebody who don't want to talk to you. It's just that they didn't notice that they their phone number on Facebook is not the phone number they still have.
And those are mandatory, aren't they? Like whatever you put on there, if they don't
I
fill
think
it out.
because it's housing that people has the option of not filling them in, but
Okay.
I've not had anybody who didn't. But I do have people who, and when I get hold of them, they usually say, oh, this is my old number. When I finally get them to respond to an email.
Gotcha.
So, and I would add a couple of questions. I would add number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and price range. Because that gives you a chance to, if you don't get a hold of them, at least send them some listings that they can look at. And then when they've looked at them a few times, some of them might actually come back to you. So if, again, if their email is usually correct because they need that to log into Facebook. So if they change that, they also change it on Facebook. So unless they use the phone number to log in, then they might not change that. So bedrooms, bathrooms, and price range. So I can, because I know if I advertise pool homes in Fort Myers from 500,000 or below 500,000, well, that's what they responded to. So when I set up my search for them, I would go 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, up to, because like I said, just because you said under 350 doesn't mean that they necessarily want a home for under 350. They might want $1 million home. And the price range, and you know the area because that's the ad. Does it make sense?
Yep.
And
Yes, it
then
does.
You have a couple of other options in here. You can change under settings, you can change it so it's restricted, which means that only people who is served the ad can fill it in. I like to change it to open. I mean, I wouldn't prevent anybody from sharing this form with their friend if they know somebody who wants to move. You can, if your CRM has a special requirement for the field names, you can change it in here. That's something you need to talk to whoever is providing your CRM with. And again, you have an option to put in tracking parameters. So if you run a lot of different ads, as you hopefully have some success with this, you can track which ad people are responding to by putting in tracking parameters that will then be sent to your CRM. Again, that's something you need to talk to your CRM people about how to set that up, because it's different with each CRM. And often, if they're worth anything, they might even do it for you if you give them access to your Facebook account.
And when that hits your CRM, it actually labels it as a Facebook ad or whatever, correct?
Yeah, if you set this, I mean, most CRMs would, regardless of what you set up in the settings, at least label it as a Facebook ad. But if you have a parameter here that could say, hey, this was the one with the ugly house on, or this was the one that where we said from 500,000, and this was the one where we said under 500,000. It's a great chance of learning how to change your ads over time. And then all you have to do when you're done, I don't want to say this, then you just click publish and wait for Facebook to approve your ads, and they'll start running. And one of the biggest mistakes you can do in terms of time wasting is to constantly look at your Facebook ad account to see how these ads are doing. It will take about a week before you start seeing any results. That's the time it takes Facebook to learn. But you will also sometimes not spend that much money in that week. Any questions?
That was really good, man.
Thank you.
Question for you, actually. Because everybody gets busy and everything else, and sometimes we all need to be held accountable. Would this be something that you would, if somebody were to commit to at least 6 months or 12 months, that you could handhold and assist in setting their campaign up?
I could, yes. If I am to set up several campaigns, it would take some time, and I would probably need to figure out a way for me to get paid for that time. Either by we pay something for the setting up, and then we can always deduct it when you start getting closings from it. Because if Maxim sees results, it's worth it. If you don't follow up, it's not worth it. Did everybody just die?
That sounds reasonable. I'd be in, because I'm not the greatest at doing this type of thing. It's Carol.
Yes.
And that's why
it was Carol.
And that's why I brought it up as well, because I've done Facebook ads over the years, and actually their system got way more user friendly. But I mean, I've shared my own frustration dealing with Facebook ads, like what to choose, what not to choose, and everything else. So I know it can get frustrating for people. So that's kind of why I was asking if you'd be willing to do something like that, which is cool.
Definitely, yes. I mean, it does take a little bit of time to set it up, and it also takes a little bit of monitoring in the beginning. And I would love to do it, but and if enough people sign up, it's actually better the more people who sign up. But we can do an email blast on that. Anybody else?
Nope.
So
I have a question.
yes,
It's Marie. So what does the follow-up look like for you?
that's a good question. What it looks like for me is that I have I use Chime a lot, which is part of the reason we're changing, because I'm spending so much time chasing their support up that I just had enough. But they do have, when they work, some pretty good follow-up systems. And what I do is when people sign up on Facebook, they get a text the minute the lead hits the CRM. It sends out a text, something like, hey, thank you for contacting us on Facebook. We are working on getting a customized list. If you have any questions or want to add any information, please don't hesitate to reach out. That they get that within a minute after they sign up. And then we create there's the search, because the way I follow up is that based solely on hey, you want a custom list of homes, I'll give you a custom list of homes. And then we create the list, and about 5 minutes after we mailed the first list, the system spits out a text saying, hey, did you get the list? Did you like any of the homes? Do you want to set up showing, something like that? If they don't respond to that, another 15 minutes later, they get another text, another 2 hours later, they get another text. And we do that about 4 times, I think, the first day. And then we also try to reach them by phone.
Okay, thank you.
But
Thank
the
you very
follow-up is key. So if you don't have a good CRM in place, you should not waste your money on this, because you need an automated follow-up system. There's no way you have time to call 10 leads a day.
Is the new CRM used, the email we received yesterday about the new CRM, does it offer automated follow-up like that?
Yes,
Can we look? Okay,
it does.
thank you.
And actually, most of the follow-up scripts I used to be with RealGeeks before, and most of the scripts I use for follow-up is actually from the RealGeeks platform from when I had it before. I stole everything I could when I shut it down. Sorry, I borrowed everything I could when I shut it down. So, any other questions?
No, I would say if you could do another one on some of the other topics that you were talking about in your early spreadsheet, or your
Yeah.
if we can line those up, that'd be great too. I think it's invaluable information, especially if you're using this to get leads. And I think right now, a lot of people could use more leads in their pocket. So,
and actually, I have a few other things, other way. And actually, how many people are doing Google local services ads? I don't hear a lot of people.
Not me.
Do you know that if you do Google local services ads, you only pay for the leads that are actual leads, not for anybody who is crappy lead?
No.
And if you do Google local services ads, you also get the little badge that says that you're Google approved. No.
You should do a roundtable on that.
That was actually my thinking. We should do that. The only thing I would say, don't get too excited, because you don't get a lot of leads, but you do get a lot of credibility on Google, and you get, but one thing you need to do in order to run Google local services ads is that you need to have a Google My Business page, and you need to have at least 5 reviews on that page before they will let you run local services ads. So maybe that's something to get done until we do a roundtable on that.
that sounds good.
Yeah. But the only reason I didn't cover the other topics is because I knew that we were going to run out of, I mean, this could be a 3-4 hour session if we covered everything. And a lot of that is actually pretty much available on either Facebook or YouTube, but I'm happy to do a roundtable on some of these topics as well.
That sounds good, man. This has been really helpful.
All right. If nobody has anything else, do we, and I know that Jody just got a lot of voice, but do we have anything planned for next week? You can just text me.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. Okay, if we don't have anything planned for next week, so we could continue this next week.
That would be cool if we could, just because it's fresh in everybody's mind, and I think I'll likely set up a campaign as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So let's plan on that for next week.
Okay. So hopefully the recording, if it's working, will say, okay, get this done before next week.
Yes. Fingers crossed. All right. Okay.
All
Thanks,
right.
Ben.
Good. See you next week. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye.